Hello all, welcome to the second video of Legion. In this video, we shall be discussing about basic hacking. So what are we waiting for? Let's get on with the presentation. So here we go, basic hacking. So before we start, I'd like to tell you that this video is purely going to be theory. We are going to discuss about certain terms about hacking and the prerequisites before learning this art. Not to worry guys, the next videos will have lots of demos as you will see in the forthcoming slides. Let's move on. So first of all, let us take a look at the terms that is used in the world of hacking today. Well, what is hacking? The art of gaining access to a particular system with or without the consent of its owner using developed tools is called hacking. So I think this definition is crystal clear. You can either gain access to a particular system with or without the consent of its owner. With the consent means it's legal, without the consent, as you all know, means it's illegal. Well, then what is a hacker? A person who likes to tinker with electronic devices to discover more about their working and can also make or break them is called a hacker. Well, this is in contrast to what many people think about hackers. They think hackers are evil guys, sitting in a dark room who like to, play with people's computers and steal data. Well, not at all, guys. There is, that's a very bad notion that you have got. A hacker is a person who likes to tinker with electronic devices, and he's the person who's making all these things work. He can be an advanced programmer, an advanced networking enthusiast, or he can simply be a hardware person who specializes in physical penetration. Well, those are the crackers that make the hackers look so bad, and the term hackers and crackers is still in dispute. Well, you can blame the media for that, but this video is not for that. So let's just move on. Now, let us look at the hacker types. What are the hacker types? Well, first are black hats. Well, the usual bad guys that give hackers a bad name. Well, that's true. Black hats are otherwise called crackers. These are the people that hack into systems to steal sensitive data or to deface websites and all kinds of other stuff, right? Let's move on. White hats, the information security pros that are out there to prevent the bad things from happening. So these are the actual hackers, guys. These are people who are highly knowledgeable in all fields of computers and information security, and these are the security professionals out there who are doing great things. Now, grey hats, hackers who like to be both and usually don't take any sides. Well, I recommend each and every one of you to be a white hat. Well, becoming a white hat is not that easy, but I recommend all of you to be a white hat because they are the actual people who prevent actual hacking from happening. But as you all know, there's also a third group of hackers called grey hats. Well, these hackers can be black hats or white hats. If they discover a vulnerability in a system, they can either go on and code an exploit and hack into the system, or they can, notify the software vendor so that the vulnerability is patched. Most of the words I use may not be familiar, but not to worry, guys. In the future videos, we shall take a look at them. Let's just move on for now. Well, now we are going to discuss about hacker ranks. Well, as you all know, hacking is, a community, and hackers are a people who are a part of community that has ranks. What are these ranks? The first rank that any person can get or any wannabe hacker can get once he hacks into a system is Script Kiddie. Well, they are young wannabe hackers that have no knowledge of hacking or programming or networking and use tools developed by pros to crack systems. You know, Script kiddies can be those 13 or 14-year-olds out there who go about telling people that they're hackers. Well, actually, they don't know anything about actual hacking, they don't have any information on programming or networking, and therefore, they don't know what the tools that they use actually do behind the scenes. Well, the second rank that any person can get as he grows is an intermediate hacker. Young hackers that have good knowledge of programming and hacking and use tools that they develop as well as those by pros to hack in. Well, I do not like to boast, but I consider myself to be an intermediate hacker. You know, intermediate hackers are people who have good knowledge of programming, networking, and hacking. They can, using their programming knowledge, develop tools on their own as well as use those tools that are developed by pros to hack in. Well, these intermediate hackers do get certain respect, but they're also looked down upon because they use tools that are developed by other hackers also. So the final rank and the rank that each and every one of us strive to get is elite hackers. Those are the pros who are out there developing tools and exploits, and those are the people who actually do the real hacking. So, looking at these hacker ranks, you must have understood why it's so difficult to be a hacker and why it's so interesting to be a hacker also. Let's move on. Yes, now comes the most important part of our presentation, that is the hacker attitude. So, all of you have taken a huge step in becoming a master hacker. But, guys, without the hacker attitude, no amount of programming or networking knowledge can get you anywhere. So, what is the hacker attitude? Knowledge is power, and creativity is our number one weapon. Well, knowledge is power, guys. In the world of information and security, knowledge is power, and the more creative you are, the more problems you can solve. You should always remember that there is always more than one method of solving a problem. And just because one person can't solve that problem doesn't mean the problem cannot be solved at all. Let's move on. Impossible is not a word, it is the truth. But that does not mean we have to accept it. Well, people say that impossible is nothing and stuff like that. But in reality, impossible is actually a word which is true. There is some sort of reality in it, but that does not mean that we have to accept it. Guys, there is nothing in this world that cannot be cracked. Few years down the line, you'll also have hackers, hacking toasters because toasters used embedded systems, embedded operating systems, which definitely have security vulnerabilities. Let's move on. Master the art or do not learn at all. So this is a very important hacker attitude that one has to have. Master the art of hacking or do not learn at all. And final thing is learn to hack and then hack to learn. Well, this is a very important and very popular attitude, or what do you call it, a punchline that can be seen on any hacking website, which is learn to hack and then hack to learn. So first you're supposed to learn how you're supposed to hack, and then you can hack systems, so that you can learn properly. Well, so hack to learn. Well, again, our legal issues come in, and I don't have to comment on how dangerous it is to hack into illegal systems, but this last point also holds true in the hacker attitude. So, guys, you must be wondering why hacking is a part of my life. Well, you all know you guys are my friends, and you all know that I want to make a career in robotics. But what I want to tell you is, guys, becoming a hacker is very nice. It is very interesting. It also improves your logical thinking. And plus, because of the third point, I do not want to stop learning. I want to master the art. Well, I've already started learning, so I want to master the art. So, enough about me. Let's just move on with our presentation. The requirements. Second most important thing after the hacker attitude is the tools of the trade that one requires to actually get into the world of hacking. Here we go. We need a computer with at least 1 GB of RAM and 2 GHz of CPU speed. Well, 1 GB of RAM is a must, guys. In the future videos, you will be seeing software or programs that actually require 1 GB of RAM. Well, they don't require that much of RAM, but it never hurts to have 1 GB of RAM and at least 2 GHz of CPU speed. This is a must. If you're out there cracking passwords with brute forces attack or dictionary attacks, it really helps if your CPU has, at least about 2.2 or 2.4 gigahertz of speed. Let's move on. Additional software can be downloaded when needed. Well, a computer is not the only thing that one requires to get into the world of hacking. You also need certain software which can be used, certain software or tools which can be used on our journey. This is a funny point. A will to learn and a reasonably working brain. So you must be wondering, if these are all the requirements that are needed, then why are not all people out there hackers? Well, the next slide will explain that. But actually speaking, these are the only requirements that one needs to learn hacking. Now, important notes. Basic programming knowledge is required and shall be given in abundance in later videos. Well, this answers your question. People with no or basic programming language knowledge cannot strive well in the world of hacking, because unless and until you can develop your own tools that can do your dirty work, you cannot strive to gain respect. So this is why you not only require intermediate programming knowledge, but you should also strive to attain advanced programming knowledge in more than 3 or 4 programming languages. So I will not be making videos on individually on the requisites that are needed. So let me tell you about certain programming languages that you should learn. It doesn't really pain to learn HTML or XHTML. It's what makes up the web nowadays. You can also learn C or Java. I'll be giving tutorials on programming languages also in the future, but for now I just recommend that, and I highly recommend learning these two languages that have really helped me. One is Python. Well, Python is a very nice programming language which has great network programming, and as you all know, network programming is what is required to break into even the most secure systems. And the other programming language that I want to recommend is Visual Basic. Well, there are three programming languages in this. There is Visual Basic, Visual C++, and Visual C Sharp. Well, C++, C Sharp, not that easy to learn, but Basic is very easy to learn programming language. But don't be fooled by its easiness, it's also very strong. So I recommend you guys go to the net and search for some basic tutorials, and don't worry if you don't get them, because you'll be getting them in video form later on. So you also need certain basic networking knowledge, how computers communicate with each other, TCP/IP protocol, the point-to-point protocol, and other networking knowledge. But as I told you already, you will be getting certain information on that also. And you also need knowledge of system organization, like how the CPU works, what registers are, what the RAM is, how buffer overflows, format strings, or other exploits are made. So once you can do all this, you will be an elite hacker, but that usually will take 2-3 years down the line. So without wasting certain time, let's just move on. You also need to learn know that basic knowledge of operating basic and advanced software. So fourth can be a very reasonable note or prerequisites, and I hope each and every one of you have the knowledge of operating advanced software also. So let's move on. So basic glimpse. Now we are going to take a look of how hackers actually get in. So this is not going to be a vast demo, and as I told you, this demo will be covered in the future videos. So the first thing that one has to do is he has to identify his target. For example, let me say that my target is my friend's computer. So I have to identify that target first, what its IP address is and how it is connected. And then I have to do my recon or reconnaissance, which is I have to scan his computer and determine what OS is running, what ports are running, so that I can determine the vulnerabilities. Don't worry if you are not understanding anything I'm saying right now, because as I told you already, in the future videos we shall be covering them. So now we should analyze and sort out exploits according to our post scans, and then we can pawn and own. This word pawn is used by the hackers to indicate that something has been hacked. So pawn, yes, pawn, and then own. After that, we can do post exploitation, like embedding trojans or some backdoors or viruses and doing your dirty work. So guys, that was all I wanted to tell you about in this video. Before terminating or aborting, I'd like to tell you what the next video is going to be about. Well, we shall build on this video and dive deep into things like password cracking, exploitation, and post exploitation. But, guys, before that, the first video is going to be about software. Well, that software is going to be, about VirtualBox Manager, since not all of us can, really get another PC for us. So that runs, on different operating systems. So there is a software which allows you to emulate on the virtual level, computers that run either on Windows XP, on Linux, Unix, or whatever operating system you have. So that will be the next tutorial on VirtualBox Manager, and lots of demo ahead, guys. Don't worry if this video, I know this video was a bit boring, because of the theory and all, but in the future lots of demos are there, and please don't worry if you do not understand this video that well. So that was all, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please rate and comment, as that is what keeps me going on. That was all. I hope you liked it. Goodbye.